Good morning, good afternoon, and especially good evening, Bangladesh. My name is Jan Robberts from Key Leadership Institute. We are a strategic partner of CKH Network, and it gives me a great pleasure to introduce this session to you this evening. It's going to be an amazing session about leadership excellence. And first of all, we need to thank our sponsors for this enormous event, Augmedix. And what they've done is they've become the sponsor of this, and you'll see a little video of them very shortly. I also want to thank an associate partner, and that's IPDC. And the many people who've made it possible for this show to come to all of you and to the thousands and thousands of students. And again, if you are here and your friends aren't here yet, I urge you, there is still time. We're only halfway into this amazing program. There is still a lot of time that you can bring your friends along, because you don't want to be talking about all you've learned and not have anybody to talk with about this. It is better to learn together, better to grow together. So if you haven't done it yet, like and tag your friends, invite them to this program. There's going to be until Sunday. There's going to be 8 days in total of this amazing Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit. So I urge you, just do that. Now, it gives me great pleasure. We have a totally international panel this afternoon. Before that's going to happen, we have a keynote speaker, but I would like to bring on the panel first, introduce them to you, and they can introduce themselves when I bring them on. But first of all, I want to bring on from America, Miss Madeline McNeely.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Yes, Madeline, if you could just briefly introduce yourself just now, and you get a longer introduction when we start the panel discussion, but I would like the people already to know who they are going to be learning from and learning with.
Excellent. So again, Madeline McNeely, and I am from the East Coast of the United States, Boston, Massachusetts. So that's where I'm hailing from. I have a company called Conditioning Leaders, and we are a network of leadership practitioners who focus on issues of diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. We care a lot about how you create institutions and cultures where people have a deep sense of belonging. I also am a leadership coach. I work at Harvard Extension School, have done some work at Harvard Business School, and have a particular niche and love for supporting young people and youth adult leadership, and I'm happy to be a part of this conversation.
Thank you very much, and most welcome. And we look forward to your wisdom. And if you already hear youth people, young people, and students, if you've already got leadership questions, put them in the box and start asking the panel questions later on when it comes to the panel discussion. We're going to have a half-hour keynote speech first, but get engaged, because this is a good time to learn, and the way you're going to learn is by asking questions. So we look forward to all your questions later on. Then second, I would like to introduce you to a second lady, this time from my home country, the Netherlands, and that is Ineke Hurkmans.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here, and it's so nice to have Jan moderating this session, my countryman Jan. So we can speak Dutch, Jan, okay?
we can certainly do that. When they speak Bangla, we speak Dutch. Payback. But yeah, it's great to have you here, Ineke, and many people in Bangladesh and many students already know you because you've actually been in Bangladesh, and you're also a partner in an amazing program, in the one you created, the Jump program, the Jump network, and you will of course be introducing yourself very shortly when you start. When I introduce you as the keynote speaker, we're excited to have you here as well. And of course, normally the keynote speaker would be last, but as a gentleman, I have to get the ladies in first. So
that's so nice.
thank you for both being here. And then, of course, another international member most people already know as well, because he's been online in Bangladesh and been involved in Bangladesh also for quite a while, from Sri Lanka, Mr. Ranjan de Silva.
Hi, everyone. It's fantastic to be here. Such a pleasure, such a privilege to be here with such an amazing panel. And I'm a CEO success coach, whatever that means. And my job is to help catalyze leadership success. So if you want an elevator speech from me, What I do is to help leaders engage their people to deliver strategic business success. And that's what I'm committed to. No stranger to Bangladesh. I've been coming in and out for the last 20 years and really happy to be with all of you. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much again. Those already who know Mr. Ranjan, they know that he's got a lot of knowledge to share as well as the same as the two ladies. So I urge you that, when the time comes, start putting questions in the comments box. This is about leadership excellence. So any leadership questions, we've got great coaches, got leadership experts. I'm also involved in leadership, but we want your questions because we want you to help you and to provide you knowledge and information. And it's going to happen for, first of all, 30 minutes of a keynote by Ineke Hurkmans, and then we go into the panel discussion. So I hope if your friends aren't here yet, again, drag them into this, because get them in here, because they will have FOMO. Because when you start talking about what's happening in this week, you don't want to have FOMO, and it's your fault if they have, because you didn't invite them. So bring them here. We want to see everybody. Okay, so the next thing is going to happen. We're going to have a very short video by the main sponsors, Augmedix. So if you join us in watching this short video, Ovi will put it on. Thank you.
ইংলিশটা একটু ঝালাই করে নে অগমেডিক্সে এখনো অনেক সুযোগ আছে অগমেডিক্স হায়ারিং স্ক্রাইবস
There you go. A short video it was indeed. And Augmedix, of course, the sponsors who also made this possible. So we are very grateful, and we've had the CEO and many top members of Augmedix already in the panel discussions and in the discussion so far. We look forward to introducing many more of them, because it's through people like that, as well as the hard work that has happened behind the scenes for months. Kamrul Hassan and his network have had many sleepless nights, I'm sure, to make sure it's happening, and they still have, because they want to make sure that you, the next gen leaders of Bangladesh, get the best value possible from this whole week and walk away with knowledge and skills and tips and tools that you can use to be the real leaders of tomorrow. Now, and at this point, it just gives me great pleasure as a fellow Dutchman to present you. Most of you know already, but to present you with the keynote speaker for the Leadership Excellence today, Ineke Hurkmans. Ineke, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. So nice to be in this very nice company of the three of you, and I know that Kamrul is somewhere in the back, and he will pop up any minute, because he also wants to join. So my gratitude goes out to him big time, because this guy, I always call him the tree shaker. He's my brother and the tree shaker. Every tree he shakes, people are falling out, and this network is expanding big time. So I cannot be grateful enough, Kamrul, for you and the team, because I included you all in my heart from the time that I visited Bangladesh in February. We just started off this endeavor as an adventure and an expedition, right? We had no idea that this would be so booming, even with lockdown coming in globally and I don't know what, but that gave us the opportunity to just play it out online big time. So I'm so grateful. So thank you for the opportunity to deliver the keynote today. I'm really happy to do that. And I'm just, I have a half an hour, and Jan, please be my timekeeper, because I can talk for hours, you know that. So I won't be offended if you say it's time. So please give me a sign when the 30 minutes are gone. And I just wanted to give some new viewpoints on the term of leadership, because leadership, that's like a container, actually. It's leadership. We can just throw in a lot of definitions and interpretations on the theme, on the topic, on the word leadership. So I just wanted to give a first, maybe strange statement on leadership. And I know for a fact that Ranjan is now listening, because he's always fond of nice angles to look at. I'm always listening to him. So I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother. That makes me a leader. I love to look at it like that. I have conversations with CEOs all the time, and I always refer to them as the mom or the dad of the company. Sometimes people get really confused because they say, why? Do I have to take care of all these people as they were my children? Do I have to feed them? Do I have to nourish them? And then I say, look at it figuratively speaking, as you being the mom or the dad of your team or your organization, because then suddenly the heart is involved. So we all know what we do towards children. We care for them, right? We care for the children because we know they're precious. And we know that if we force the children, that it would have an opposite effect of often, right? So if we force or limit children, they become obedient, or the opposite, what's the English word? They become really naughty, and they start doing secret behavior, you know. They pretend to be nice, but they're nasty little bastards, you know. But they just pretend to be nice. So looking at your organization as you being a mom or a dad is very interesting. Now, talking to the students, you guys, you have teachers, right? I always talk to the students I always talk to them like this, saying, look at the teachers and the professors and the lecturers. Do they behave like your mom or your dad, or do they behave like your boss? And they say, well, it differs, because some do treat us like the children or the, you know, precious gold, and some they don't. And so I just ask them, who are you learning from the most? Where is your learning ability opening up or closing down? And they say, well, actually, when they treat us like precious gold, and I'm learning more because I feel safe. And that's a very big keyword that I want to address. So I want to talk about 4 things that create very cool leadership. And you're not born being a leader, and you are. Because from the day you are born, there's one thing you have to lead until the day you die, and that's your own life. So that makes us leaders. Being born in the diapers, we are leaders with only 1 or 2 things that we have to take care of. We are hungry and we have to do the thing there, you know, and we just do it. But growing up, we very fast decide on what we want to do, and we are developing our own will and our own, you know, our own point of view of life. And leadership of your own life, that's the biggest and most challenging thing that we all have to do. And that's why I don't believe that leaders can lead people. They can only lead themselves. They can only lead themselves, and they can, by doing that, inspire others to also lead themselves. There are people that have to take responsibility of organizations, of investments, of money, of safety, of, you know, circumstances for companies. These are the people that have good, strong shoulders. It's their talent. They have to carry it because they can. But it does not make them more or better. It makes them carry different loads. And we all are leaders for our own lives. Now, I will give them, first of all, the 4 topics, and then I'll go deeper into every one of them. So what helps us being better leaders for our own lives or for the companies that we lead or will lead? Because you guys, people in the audience, you will be leaders. You're actually already leaders. I met a lot of students in Bangladesh who are the regional coordinators of the Next Gen Leadership program, and I'm training a lot of them and giving them the jump movement method. And just thinking of that, I think I'm sponsoring about 100 people with a program that costs here 3,000 euros. So I think it's very cool what we can do from the Western countries towards the youth in Bangladesh. And I'm so proud to do it. And of course, we also want to deliver the jump movement program to the organizations. helping them to create movement from inside out and from bottom up instead of outside in, bottom down. So the 4 topics that I wanted to address, first of all, postpone your judgment. That's one of the biggest secrets being a fantastic leader. Postpone your judgment. The second one is support and reward. That's the second one. Third one is everything that happens is supposed to happen. That's the third one. And the fourth one is gratitude. Gratitude. So these 4, I will give them more in detail, but these 4 I came to notice in the years that I have been a professional. I've been working as a consultant for 20 years. Before that, I was a director. And before that, I started working my career as a youth worker. I worked with young people. And resisting, so I worked with young people that were resisting life, actually, in general. They were resisting life. And they taught me so much about resist and resistment. Resistment, is that a word in English? No. Is it, Madeline?
Resistance, yeah.
Oh, resistance.
Resistance.
Yeah. Resistance. So resistance, that is very interesting. If people resist and you resist back, we have to push towards each other. So if someone resists and you go along, the force leaves you, because otherwise they will fall down. This is the Aikido. This is the Aikido secret. When you move along with the force that comes with you, you actually will be stronger, and it looks like you're giving in, but actually you create much more strength because the other one is, off balance.
Yeah.
So when someone is resisting me and I resist back, we are like fighting, right? So these young people at that time, they taught me a lot, because the only answer they had was no. That was the only answer to everything. So how about doing this and this? No. How about starting this and this project? No. How about teaching you computer lessons? No. They only had one answer, that was no. So that taught me something. And it taught me to ask them, so what do you want? And they said nothing. And then I thought, okay, so if my adult mind has an opinion about that no or that nothing word, I will be not doing anything. Oh, someone is bringing tea. Isn't that nice? Thanks. Look, I'm being taken care of. Thanks, Gerda. I'm with a client, so I just had a session and I said, can I use your room? And then they bring me tea. Oh, people are too nice. But no is actually a very cool question. So postponing judgment, withholding my opinion on that behavior, created space immediately. So I would say, okay, so what's next? And I would just wait. I would just sit back and wait. And then they just had an answer. So not doing, instead of doing, pushing, pulling, but not doing, staying in the middle, creating space, that actually makes us a very good leader. So that's the one. Postpone your judgment. Keep your opinion for yourself for a minute or 2 or 3 or 5. And then the space between you and the other becomes bigger for the other one to step in. That's number 1, postpone judgment. Number 2 is support and reward. So you see my thumbs up all the time. That is my brand. I'm doing thumbs up all the time. And I give applause all the time. And you know why I do that? I have several reasons for that. Because first of all, as a leader, I know that every effort that you take in your life to take your next step, that is deserving an applause. Because you take effort, you invest in your own life. Every step that you make is worth thumbs up because you take effort. And that is why I keep doing that all the time. Even if I see that you're falling, I'm just doing, yeah, great, you can learn to get up again. And there's another reason why I do that. It's also in the jump movement method. It's totally ingrained there. And why I do it is because our brain has this little, the pineapple glands here, and it creates these feel-good chemicals, the feel-good hormones called serotonin, dopamine, endorphin. So the minute I do this, you guys, all the people that are viewing, you create serotonin. Isn't that great? You maybe feel better for 3 milligrams. Isn't that fantastic? It's free drugs. People always laugh about the Netherlands. Oh, you have free drugs. Well, it's nothing compared to these, you know? I mean, I'm not a drug user, but I like this drug. It's a free drug. It makes us feel better, even if it's only 2 or 3 milligrams. But if the culture in your team is, I support you, and I reward you by giving you a compliment or by giving you thumbs up, that is so much helpful. Now, compliments, if you give a compliment as a boss, but because maybe you had read the book saying you have to compliment your people, because that's important. But most of the compliments, they contain hidden advice. Did you know that? In the compliment, we have a comma. So there's a compliment, then there's a comma, and then you have the advice. So the compliment could be, I think you're very cool in what you do, comma, you might want to get better in this and this. Now, what is happening to the first part? Gone, right? If I would say to you, Jan, you did a very cool introduction. If you would be on time just 2 seconds sooner because you were quiet, what would you feel? I mean, I would like throw you off the screen with that. And I just have to reward you because you are moderating this thing. You are just doing it. I mean, that's applause worthy. So give the guy an applause, everybody. Isn't that amazing? So we can build the other one or we can break the other one. It's very easy. And if we are leaders, seen as leaders, and I think we all 5 are seen as leaders, as role models, and as people that you have to watch, we have the power to build or break people. And we have to be really careful using that, knowing that. Because what's the point in giving critiques if you know that someone is learning organically anyway, you know? We cannot not learn. We cannot not learn. So why give critique? Why say this you have to do better if someone is not asking you for it, right? If Jan would say, Ineke, give me 2 things that I did not do right, in your opinion, I could say, yeah, just start 2 seconds sooner. Maybe, I don't know, it's not bothering me, but you know what? Huh? He asks for it. But if he doesn't ask for it, I'm not working on the relationship as a leader. Now, this is something because leaders, like managing leaders, and also moms and dads, I mean, I have to be honest, me too. We think that we own life, you know, because we're maybe 1 nose length ahead of the others. We think we own life and that we know life, but we don't. We only know our own life, you know. I don't know your life. I only know my life. And I can actually not contribute to your life. I can just have fun in mine. And if you like it, and if it inspires you, it's so, oh, that's perfect. But I cannot live or lead your life. I can't do that. Okay, so let's go to number 3. Everything that happens is supposed to happen. Now, this is a very cool one. I love it. Because we have expectations, right? As leaders, I also have that. I come up with the idea to go to Bangladesh. And then Kamrul came across my path and we got acquainted and it clicked and we said, let's just do it. And I had to let go of all the expectations because Bangladesh is a different country than the Netherlands. It's a different language. It's a different culture. It's a different, I mean, I'm in this city, there's 20 million people there. I'm going crazy, you know. So I had to let go of all the expectations and be totally in the present moment and feeling everything that is happening is supposed to happen, because if it shouldn't, it wouldn't. It's very easy, actually, right? It's very, very easy. So the corona needed to happen because it's happening. So let's make the best of it. You cannot change the wind. You have to adjust the sails to get to have the most benefit of the wind. So we have to work with the COVID-19. We have to do it because it's here, you know, it's in our faces. So bringing that into our, in the way that we can use it, or that we can profit from it, or that we can work with it, that gives us so much more leadership. So fact is that life is there. Leaders that oppress or that resist life, they have a hard time. Leaders that flow with life, they have more fun. Maybe they sometimes have very deep, you know, deep hopeless moments, and we have to cry. But what's wrong with crying? I mean, crying and laughing are the same. In crying, it's wet, but it's an expression of emotion. It's not more than that. So everything that is happening is supposed to happen. So we cannot adjust the wind. We can only adjust our sails. So we have to accept things as they are. If we fail our exam, wow, it's very interesting to look at, why should it happen? You know, what is it teaching me? Instead of me, you know, throwing myself into negativity and thinking I'm a loser. There's a message in everything. So if we can open ourselves up to the fact that things are happening because they are happening anyway, and let's look at what does it mean for me? Well, how can I make myself use it? Life becomes an adventure. And we're on the expedition called life. And then the fourth, one of the four keynote points that I have is gratitude, because then we deeply feel great gratitude for life. We can bow our heads and we can fold our hands before our hearts and we can say, thank you Allah, thank you Lord, thank you God, thank you Jesus, thank you, because this is the gift I get as a leader of my life to learn. And there is this, you know, this mistake or this misconception about leadership, that leaders are the boss of other people. That's I mean, some people have more responsibility because they have stronger shoulders. They have to. You carry it because you can. If you cannot carry it, you will not have it. It's so nice. That is so natural. If we couldn't carry this work, we wouldn't be here, right? If someone says, I really want to be the CEO of the company, but it's not working, I cannot make it, it's not supposed to happen, I think. Maybe there's another talent for you. Maybe there's some other hidden gem inside of you that you can contribute within life. Because our lives are so short, my sweeties. Really, it's so short. Life is only like, in the universe, it's like we're only this. We're so tiny. And we think so much of ourselves all the time, you know? Leadership is accepting that we're like this little speck, this little tiny piece of atoms that is combined into this body. It's just, you know, trying to do the best they can, trying to cope with the situations that we just are dropped in. I mean, I did not order being born in the Netherlands. You guys did not order being born in Sri Lanka or in the US or in Bangladesh or in, you know, we didn't order it. We were dropped there with these parents. It was a God's gift. Life is a God's gift. What we do with it, that's the leadership. So I think I'm closing a bit, right, Jan? How am I doing in that time? 10. Fantastic. I have time. So, well, life, leadership is life, living your own life. So I came across a lot of leaders, and when I talk to them, I ask them all the time, what in your organization? So I give you some examples of my daily conversations with leaders. And I say, okay, so what's the problem? Tell me, what's the thing that you are lying awake from at night in your company? And I think 90% of leaders tell me those people are not moving. And of course, when I visit the company, I just say to them, it's very interesting because I just watched them move. I saw them walking, I saw them typing, I saw them taking the phone. They were all moving. And then the leaders, the CEOs or the managers say, no, but it's not what I mean. They don't move the way we want them to move. We still have to push them. I say, oh, it's like you're pressing the remote control, right? It's the remote control management that's on. Where is your remote control? And that's an amazing thing because we think we can press the button. It's actually an invisible remote control, but we still do it. That is the first crack where the light can come in. When I talk to a CEO, there's a crack. And if the light comes in, they get really, how do you say that? Like maybe panicked. So, but why? How? What should I do? Can you fix this for me? I said, no, I cannot fix it. Would be great, right? If I could fix it for you. You would just pay me and it would be solved. No, that's not how it works. There's a process that you need to manage. And managing is learning the art of not doing. Learning the art of Aikido. Being the Aikido student. That is what leaders need to learn. And that, handling the space that is being created when they step back a little bit, that's a very scary part. Because when there's a space happening and the other ones are maybe a little bit too anxious or suspicious on what is the catch here, that silence, that's very scary. There's a silence that's very scary. And there we need to connect from heart to heart. There we have to create connection. And I'm working with the jump movement philosophy and method for the last 9 years. I created it from a very frustrating set of experiences that I had of me thinking that I could solve their problem as a consultant, but which I couldn't. And I thought I have to create a way for them to become a little bit inconvenient in that space between the leader and the team members, because if it's inconvenient, movement will occur. And if it's not the leader, the other one will move, 100%. But it takes maybe 10 seconds. Now, 10 seconds is not long in your lifetime, right? It's very short. Very short. But, try it. Try it. Try in the next encounter that you have with someone else where you feel the urge to put something in, secretly remote controlling the other. Don't do it. Figuratively take a step back and observe what happens. Feel your inconvenience. You will feel inconvenient. You will, because you're supposed to be proactive as a leader. You're supposed to give the idea. You're supposed to, manage the people. You can't. It's impossible. So giving space creates an inconvenient feeling. It does. But that is where we need to be a little bit more. With 10 seconds of inconvenient silence. It's so healing because we heal automatically in our lives. We heal automatically. So that could be a very interesting, experiment to do. So maybe 2 experiments. This one, give some space in a situation that you would have given advice or would have initiated. Don't. And the other one is give the first person that you see live a compliment without any advice. I think that's the coolest thing. And just in the street, give a thumbs up to the first person you see and look at the effect. It will make you feel better and you will definitely see more shiny eyes around you. And I think if you're a good leader, your eyes are shining and you see shiny eyes around you. And I think that's the very best measure that you could make of if you are connected, if your own eyes are shining and if you see shiny eyes around you. So I think it's a great conclusion. Look for shiny eyes, people, then we know that we are doing it. Thank you so much for your time, and I can just talk for hours. So let's open the panel, Jan.
Yes, again, thank you very much. Now, I hope that everybody is watching, and I'm watching the comments at the same time, and some amazing comments coming back. People are learning lots of things. Some of them are actually changing their thinking because of all you said so far. And, you know, now we're going into a panel, and I can ask plenty of questions, but it is not about us. What we want to do is we want to answer your questions. So what I would like everybody to do, if you haven't brought your friends in already, you know, there's still time. We're going to be answering questions with this amazing international panel. You see 5 people on here at the moment, and everyone from a different country. So everybody's got bring their own perception and their own ideas. We can learn so much from our panel. So apart from bringing other people in, bring your questions. I will actually keep watching on the page the live video. And if I can see any questions you asking, I will ask it on your behalf. So I hope that you make my life easier by asking your questions. And by saying that, of course, we had a short introduction from everybody. And I actually met Kamrul early last year at John Maxwell team training. We met before that online on a virtual program in Ukraine. That is the first time when we started talking, and all of a sudden I found that Kamrul was also a part of the John Maxwell team, and he was going for certification. So we actually shared a hotel room, and since then we've been friends, and I really he's inspiring me with everything that he does, and the whole CKH network, and we became strategic partners as well, and we look forward to not only being a tiny part at the moment, but remaining a tiny part of this progress in the future. And my name is Jan Robberts from Key Leadership Institute. I'm also the founder of JR Speakers Club. We provide leadership solutions. We do coaching, values-based leadership, youth development, training, facilitating. I just came off 4 half days of presentation skills trainings. So there's a lot of things we do. But again, that's enough about me. It's not about me. It's all about you. So what I would like to do is to start the ball rolling with a very simple question. But, you know, we have all kinds of leadership. We've got transformational leadership, authentic leadership, relational leadership. There's all kinds. But I would like to ask Madeline from the United States, from Boston in the United States, leadership, what does it mean to you?
Thank you. So wonderful to hear you, Ineke. We have very similar backgrounds. I also was a youth worker, and I do believe, and I think everybody on this panel can attest, that when you learn to work with resistance the way she described, it helps you be a better coach, a better facilitator, a better consultant, a better trainer, all the things that we do, even though we may work outside of organizations. Supporting people inside organizations is key. So leadership, to me, I would expand on what Ineke was speaking about. It's taking responsibility in 4 domains of life. Yourself, as she described, when you're born, your job is, with support when you're very young, but it's for yourself. It's for taking responsibility for your family, whomever and however your family is created. Leadership is about taking responsibility for your organization, your program, any institution for which you are a part. And finally, leadership is about taking responsibility for your community, for your network, whether it's a geographic specific area or a virtual community. So that when we think holistically about leadership, our lives can be much more about generating the results we want versus reacting to things happening to us. One way to talk about it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And Ranjan, don't forget the end. Ranjan, Mr. Ranjan, please. Yes, of course. I should know by now. With your knowledge as well, a different perspective again, maybe even exactly the same, but what does leadership actually mean to you?
Again, it's such a complex topic, and I would like to perhaps give a quotation by General Mark Walsh from the US Air Force, who said, "Leadership is a gift. You need to be worthy of it." And this gift is given by those who you lead. So until your team says, my boss, my manager is a leader, you do not legitimately have the right to claim that you're a leader. And how do you get this gift? And this gift comes by being of service. Like the founder of Sigerman Foods once said, when if you serve your customers, okay, in order to serve your customers, first serve your people. If you want to give great good service to your customers, give great service to your people. So it's about serving your people. And again, it comes to Robert Greenleaf's concept of servant leadership. How do we lead? So for me, I think leader is a servant. You're here to serve your team and make sure that they become the best version of themselves. So I think there are various notions, but I like to quote from some of these great people. And I think one final quotation is when Robert Altman accepted his Oscars. He said, the role of a director is to create a space that the actors and actresses are better than ever before and can be better than ever they have been before. And again, similar with the leaders, can you create a space where your team can be better than they have ever been before in their life? And they feel and they can and they would be the best version. So I suppose few quotations from leadership. Such a complex topic. Very, very difficult to give an answer, but I suppose I hope that's useful.
I'm sure it will be useful. And again, when you're listening to this and when you're watching this at the moment, I hope you've got a pen and paper and that the pen is under fire at the moment, because if you just listen and you leave with very little. But if you take notes, you can go back to it and refer to it every now and then. And when you write as well as listen, more senses come into play. So I hope that you're actually taking notes from all these people and all this wisdom. And there is so much more to come. We've got a full hour of information coming, and that information that hopefully will be because you keep asking us the questions. I mean, when you mentioned a quote, also with Kamrul and myself, John Maxwell, our friend and leader, he actually, and our mentor, he has a famous quote and says, "Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less." And he says, and of course, we need to realize that it is influence with people, not over people. You're not a boss. So when then he says leadership is influence, and how do you do that? Well, you get influence by building relationships. And how do you build relationships? By asking great questions. And how do you ask great questions? By learning to listen better. And a lot of it comes down that we need to all, including myself, we all need to learn to listen better, because we always overestimate the way we listen and underestimate the way other people listen. Now, I hope everybody here is listening very well, because, and take notes, because we want to hear your questions. We want to see more people coming to the network here and come and joining us. There is so much wisdom in this international panel, and so many people are coming here after this session as well. And in the next few days, until Sunday, I believe, 8 days of total amazing wisdom, knowledge that people around the world have decided they would freely want to share with you. Freely. I mean, nothing is really free, but if you at least at the moment invest your time in joining us. This is what we expect from you, because if you want to grow as a leader, you need to make an investment in you. So I'm glad for those already here, as Ineke said earlier on as well, you are already leaders because you're here and you want to lead. So there was a question here from somebody who said, how do leaders grow their network? And that's very interesting, because another thing John Maxwell always said is, if you're a leader and nobody is following, you're merely taking a walk. It's a funny quote, but it's so. I would like to ask Ineke, what do leaders need to do to grow their network?
Yeah, mingle with people, meet people, be with them. I'm a people person. I do voluntary work. I think 20% of my time is voluntary work. I always want to contribute to my society and to my community. And in the Netherlands, we have a lot of great ways to support. I had this overflow of talent, and I really want to bring that to my society and my community, for people that have a hard time, and their shoulders are different than mine, which is not making mine better, but I have to do it. So networking is about giving. It's totally about giving. I just had this session here with people from healthcare, and we just gave the session for free, because I feel there's the law of attraction in there too. If I give, there at some point it can flow back to me. It's not directly one-on-one, but that's natural law. You can never give enough. You can never give enough of the things the other one needs. So that's networking to me, giving. And then also asking, if I ask for what I need, there is an answer somewhere. Yeah.
Indeed. And that was asked by Nishat Tabassum. Now, I've got a question that is a little bit associated with this for Shanzida Islam Zarin. And she's asking, what kind of relationship should a leader build with his team members? And I would like Madeline to answer that, please.
Great question. The first idea that comes to my mind is trust. We have to build trust, that the ability to do deep culture change work and to do transformative leadership or transformation in any group setting is connected to trust. There's a proportionality between trust and our ability to influence, as Jan was just talking about. So how do you build trust? Much of the qualities and the skills that we're talking about today are very much the source of trust. Asking questions, caring, showing that you love the people that you're with. You don't have to use the word love if that feels too intimate, but through your sparkling eyes, the way Ineke said, through your ability to sit with each other and be with each other, you build trust. Certainly, trust is also built through being your word. How you complete and follow through is very important. So there's many, many ways, but trust is what's, I think, essential.
Oh, thank you very much. And, I think we can all agree, even though it's a totally international panel, I think some of these leadership principles are universal. I mean, it doesn't matter which country you live in and which province you live in. We can all follow these principles wherever we are around the world, and that's why it's so amazing that we can have a totally international panel, even though people have different thoughts and different perceptions, but the main principles are all the same. Now, Mr. Ranjan, I have also a question for you, and that was just Ineke said earlier on that leaders can only lead themselves from the inside out. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I fully agree with it, because for me, if you take the notion of happiness, because happiness is something which gives you the energy, and there are two forms of happiness. Some people have the happiness, the sensation, where they look for external manifestation, external pleasures for happiness. And then have the second form of happiness, which is happiness, the being. So happiness, the being, is someone who decides that I'm happy or born to be happy, knowing that you're growing makes you happy. So the person who is with the notion of happiness, the being, would always look at growth for happiness. And if you want a simple definition for happiness, the one I really like is it's about in the areas of your life important to you, your ability and willingness to even be in discomfort, enjoying the benefits of growth is happiness. So if anyone is willing to go inside and be in discomfort and generate that happiness from within, so happiness comes not from the outcome, but from being in the process of growth. And that takes a lot of work. So I fully agree with what you said. If you want to grow, and if that's the intention, just go inside. Compare yourself to your own score. Are you able to beat your own score, become better and better from yesterday to today? And that will generate the inner energy, the intrinsic energy you talked about. So I think I would fully go with that notion as well. It has to come from within. You cannot lie, the externalities for your happiness and the energy which goes with it.
Yes, thank you very much. And again, of course, when we always look at leadership, it always begins with self-leadership, and self-leadership is a lot about personal development. I mean, it's how we show up as well. It's not just what we say, because people do as we do, not as we say. So we need to be good examples, and happiness also, comes from within. So if then there is another question here, and of course, people keep the questions coming, because I see a lot of questions coming past. I know already that we are never going to be able to answer them all, otherwise we'll still be here tomorrow, and we need to bring sandwiches with us. But I mean, it is wonderful that you're so engaged, and I appreciate each and every one of you for that, and I'm sure the panel members do as well, because we don't have to think of our own questions here, and I sometimes have some that come up, but I will keep asking your questions, because you are important in this. And it was a question that said, if I am a leader, is it important to hear other members' opinions, and why? And I would like to ask that of Ineke.
Definitely, 100%, maybe 1,000%, but not endlessly. That's why I always use my timer. I use the timer saying, I want to hear everybody for 2 minutes. What is happening with our system? If I get 30 minutes of time to do my keynote, my brain is immediately condensing all the information into 30 minutes. It has the ability. It's a full automated system. So if I say, give your opinion, and someone is talking for half an hour, I cannot even listen anymore, So there are two things. Definitely, you have to hear everyone's opinion, but limit the time. And second of all, postpone your judgment on what everybody is saying, and just give thumbs up, saying, wow, that's a cool perspective. That's a very cool viewpoint that you have. The minute you want to go into consensus or to have a mutual understanding about something, discussion starts. Now, what is discussion? That's a fight of opinions. And if someone is right, the other one is wrong. And the one who is right is bigger, and the other one who's wrong is smaller. And then you have inequality. And that is not working in a team. So back again to becoming your own leader, you have to have a good direction that you want to move towards. So maybe Kamrul says to the team, guys, we want to have this cool summit for 9 days or 8 days, and we want to have 50 plus speakers. What are your ideas? And he also has ideas. And then organically, they will find a way. And I know this team is walking the bridge while they build it. This is how it works. We only have here and now. But listening to everybody is very important. But limit the time. If you say, let me give your opinion in 20 seconds or 30 seconds or 50 or 2 minutes, the brain gives it. And then when you thank the person, it's amazing what happens.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, it's definitely not that a leader can say, well, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. That's not a real leader. And I see all the heads shaken as well. And, it is very important. And of course, I was told one time by somebody about the difference between a discussion and an argument. It is actually motive. And it says if we can have a discussion, and I always love discussions, even with people especially with people who don't think the same as me, because that's where we learn. But if it's going to be an argument, I step out, because I don't need to be right. They say it's always better to be kind than to be right. And as you said as well, Ineke, just now, we can't listen to everybody all the time. A leader is a leader because sometimes he needs to make decisions, and sometimes the higher up the ladder you go, the lonelier it gets, and the tougher the decisions get as well. And if you make wrong ones, everybody sees them. So yes, wonderful. Now I've got one question which is very similar by two people, and I'll read them both. Faria says, what are the most important values a leader should demonstrate? And I'll ask the other question as well by Omar Hassan. What is one characteristic that you believe every leader should possess? And so I think they both go hand in hand. And I would like to ask Madeline this question.
Oh, these are great questions. I'll start with the second, this characteristic. I think as I saw this question, if I had to pick one in this moment, I would say authenticity is the most important. We can't be influencing others. We can't be guiding our lives if we aren't true to our heart, true to what our thoughts are, and true to what our core, our internal wisdom tells us. And so we will be assured to be successful if we can maintain our sense of authenticity. And then when it comes to values, I am a big believer in supporting people to discover their own values. I think there were some that was mentioned in the keynote address that I come back to, which is about curiosity, how we maintain a sense of openness. For me, I have 4 values that guide my work and my life. One is transparency. So as leaders, if we want to influence, we have to be transparent about processes and our thoughts and content. The second is dignity for all life, no matter what. And that is hard. That is hard when we disagree. It's hard when there is fighting. But as leaders, I think we have to lead with dignity. The third value that guides my work is equity, and the sense that everybody needs the resources they need to determine the life that they want to live, and to support the creation of equity, particularly for people most on the margins in our societies, particularly for the people that are most vulnerable, for people who experience the most oppression. And then finally, I think I mentioned this, but directly leading with love and the value of love. However that looks for you, it can look very tactical and practical, just in the way you write an email, or how you sign an email, or what you say when you greet somebody. But some expression of having a sense of caring and love for humanity, people.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that. And again, there was another question that came, which is very similar, but we want to acknowledge people who ask questions. And Arif Billah said, what are the most common qualities that can make a leader most influential? And I think that was answered within that. But thank you for the question, and keep them coming, because we love your questions, and they're amazing questions. So thank you very much. Now, I've got another question here. Again, 2 very similar questions, and I want to ask Ranjan this, Mr. Ranjan. Roji Hassan Shashi says, how do you lead through change? And then Muhammad Hassan Murad asked, what are the problems to be faced in leadership practice? And I think, again, those 2 go together. And if you can answer that, please.
Yeah, can you say the first one about change? How do you?
Yeah. How do you lead through change?
Lead through change.
Yes.
And the second one was the common challenges you come across as you lead.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
So I suppose the first concept you need to have in mind, attitude, is that change is normal. I mean, the entire world is a process. All living beings, human and other than human, are all connected. And everything is in a process of change. Everything which happens, I don't know how spiritual you are or religious you are, there is a higher power. And you can make sense of that higher power based on your own beliefs. So first of all, accepting the fact that change is inevitable. And secondly, asking yourself the question, what kind of role do I play in this change which is happening? How do I influence my team to respond to the change? So I suppose if you can start reflecting on change, accept it. You can't, like the whole Aikido example, you cannot go fighting that change. You need to be with it, in sync with the change. I mean, if you take the word universe, uni is one, verse is a song. So we're all singing one song. And we need to put our own little note and the tune into that song. Or if you're an artist, you can say, the entire world is a tapestry, and you need to put your little bit into it. So when change happens, say, how do I change? And always remember, change is good for you in the long run, at least, sometimes in the short run. So avoid the resistance, go with it. Again, all the other things. Ask your team, what do you think? How did this change affect you? What are your fears and concerns? What are your hopes and aspirations of what's happening? What can we do together to respond? I think the pandemic was an excellent example. Everyone had to change, start working from home, delivering your work differently, so many things. So I suppose it's just go along and avoid resistance and accept it. Be thankful for it as well. It has some big benefits at the end of it. So I suppose that's how we would respond to change, I think.
Wonderful. And again, especially at this time of uncertainty and change is all around us all the time, as you said as well. And it's great. We should be thankful that we can experience this change.
Yes.
Rather than panic all the time. Change is going to happen all the time. When we look back, I saw an example of somebody who was born in the year 1900, because people say it's never been this bad. And then by the time they were 75, they had 2 world wars, they had financial crises left, right, and center. They had a pandemic that killed 50 million people in 1918. And I mean, the millions of people killed in these wars. We had the Vietnam War. We had so many crises. We never think about it. We've probably never had it so good. Even right now, there is a lot of things to be grateful for. There is less people dying of diseases now than there were ever in the history of mankind, for a long time anyway. People are getting better. People are. That doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. And as leaders in difficult times, we need to be grateful. As Mr. Ranjan says, we need to be grateful and happy, and just take it in. Accept it. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. See, mind reader too. The man's got many talents. Now, next for Ineke. And Ineke, when you mentioned Aikido as well, that speaks to my heart, because I've done Aikido now for 41 years, Ki Aikido, and I still do. So yes, it's Ki Aikido I do, and it's all about personal development, and I love it. So yeah, I'm getting the basics of it now. But yeah, now there was somebody who said. Also, again, just to acknowledge that people asking questions, and it's very much what Mr. Ranjan said. Arif Bila Tamin said, what are the most important qualities that can make a leader more influential and alluring? Now, some of that is already answered within this, but at least I want to acknowledge your question as well. And we'd like to keep all these questions coming. Now, there was a very short question. Ineke, this is a short question, but how can it came by Anwar Ripon, and I probably don't get your names right. I'll do my best and I'll get better at this. But how to make financial growth honorable, and that's even leadership. I mean, I suppose we have so much corruption going on around the world, and we see these people left, right, and center. So how can you make financial growth honorable?
Yeah. Oh, I love this question, because it has to do with integrity. And in my career, there were a few points, a few moments that I had these really integral, crossroads that I was on. I want to share those too, because I think they speak to mind, because making financial growth honorable is an integrity question. First thing, that was in 2006. I had a career of like almost 7 years of being a consultant, and I really made a lot of money consulting. I just sent out really big invoices, and we did sessions all over the country. And more and more times when I called back to the client saying, how is it evolving when you come back, in the workplace, and how is things being implemented, and how can you work with all the insights? And more they said, we're actually not implementing. We're actually like, it's the stress of the day that we're facing, and we cannot even, pick out the best fruits that we got from the session, which was really good. You did a good job. But then the integral question I had for myself was, I'm making a lot of money, but how sustainable is actually the invoice that I'm serving to them? How sustainable is the effect of my invoice? And then I came to the conclusion that the effect was very short in the session. So I had to really consider for myself, if I want to grow, I have to make a change. So I can stay doing this, then I can grow financially because the money came in. But I did not grow from my heart or from my level of integrity, because I did not leave any sustainable effects. So that's why we decided not to facilitate any sessions in off-site locations anymore. So we did not do any outside training sessions we just went into the stress of the day. I just thought, the most sustainable deliverables that I can bring is inside your stress of the day. So let me be there. So that was like my heart opened again, saying this is value for the energy that I put in, and it's more sustainable. So it's an integrity question. If I make a lot of money with bad things, with not honorable things, the money is not honorable. So if I can contribute to growth or to more development, and that can be financial development for an organization, because we all have to thrive and exist. But if I can look in the mirror in the morning when I wake up saying, go for the next great day and deliver what you can, and let's speak in the evening if it was honorable, that's the only thing I can do. That's the only thing I can do. And then there's the trust that life will give me everything that I need. And it's happening. I have so much proof of that. I'm 58. I just see it day by day,
Wonderful.
I hardly sent any invoices at these times of COVID. Hardly any. But I lack nothing. I have enough of everything. It's amazing, right?
And yes, indeed. And I'm totally with you. 1962 was an amazing year. Yes, we're not only fellow Dutch people, we're born in the same year. So here you go.
Oh my God, you bring the word sound really good.
Yeah. And it was your birthday this last few days, and mine was in June, so it's not that far apart either. So there you go. But it's also very interesting, and this is something, and I hope people are taking notes, because you might never hear these kind of same things again. You might hear something that might not change your life right now, but you might read back on it and say, all of a sudden it makes more sense. The same as sometimes you've read a book, and then maybe a year later you read it again, and all of a sudden you say, that wasn't there the first time. We're growing, and sometimes when we grow, we get things that we didn't get the first time. I can show you books where I've got different highlighters, and I highlighted something totally different and wonder why I highlighted the first bit. But so please take notes. And I say we still got more than half an hour, so bring your friends, bring them along as well, and keep asking the questions. And before I ask Madeline another question, I also want to see if you are taking notes. Now, Madeline gave 4 leadership qualities that she honors and has in her life all the time. She gave us 4. And I mean, I would hope that you wrote all 4 of them down, because they're all wonderful qualities. But if you put in the chat box, I would love to see if you've listened to it and you've actually noted these kind of things down. because they're wonderful qualities for everybody to have. So we'll come back to that, and I'll watch the chat box to see if you're actually right. I'll give you the answers later on.
It's going to be an exam.
I wrote them down. You mean you don't fail, by the way? So there is no failing rate here.
No failure. Huh?
I saw. Sorry, at 10:15, Arthi Moore wrote them down in the chat. So
okay. So now, well, then if they saw the chat, because Arthi Moore is here, that's the lady in one of these pictures here, my partner. I mean, if you paying attention, you already should have the answer, so it should make it easier. There you go. I mean, Madeline let the cat out of the bag. It's in there somewhere. Now you can scroll back, or you can just say, yeah, I wrote it down, because I wrote them down here. See, we are. I mean, all of us here are in leadership development, whether it's in coaching and training and whatever, and speaking about it. But we keep learning all the time, because there is no standing still. Yeah, John Maxwell says leadership is uphill. It's like success. It's uphill. And we're only going uphill, or we're going downhill. And if you better put your climbing shoes on, because the less you do, the more you have to catch up, and the better climbing shoes you have to get. And the steepness of your hill depends on what you do. But I mean, if you learn every day, it makes things a bit easier. And like personal development, Mr. Ranjan talked about it as well. Accept everything, but also make sure that you grow through this period. Make sure you keep growing all the time, and that's an everyday thing. That's not a one-day thing, because success is also an everyday thing, not a one-day thing. So then somebody, and it's a question I see all the time, Madeline, and you are heavily involved in leadership as well at Harvard, and although these to some people they might seem simple questions, when people are asking them, I always say there is no such thing as a stupid question. There's a saying, they say it's better to be a fool for 5 seconds than to remain a fool for life. So any question is good. If you don't know the answer, it's a good question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there we go. So the question was again by Nishat Tabassum, and thank you for really taking part, because I've seen a few of your questions going past, and I would like to give everybody a chance, but it comes up all the time, and I would love to hear Madeline's insight on this. What is the difference between leadership and management?
Oh, it's a classic conversation.
It is.
So we spoke about influence. I think leaders, there's many answers to this. Leaders are influencing through culture change and through the way that they create the way that values are espoused and practiced. Management, some say, is more tactical and practical, and requires skills that are about a little bit more strategy, versus leadership being more about vision and mission. But honestly, I think these are false distinctions. I don't spend a lot of time dissecting the difference between leadership and management, because management, maybe we think more about managing people and managing projects. When we manage projects, we have to have certain process skills and project management skills. Sometimes people who are managers don't see themselves as leaders, but I like to break down those barriers, because it's all a part of the same efforts to do culture change, to realize your company's mission, whether it's an organization or a network. And it's a combination of soft skills, inspiration, the values that we've spoken about, and then tactical, practical, more, hard skills, project management skills. There's my thoughts.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And I've actually, there is a coaching guy we learn coaching from in the John Maxwell team. He's an amazing master coach as well. And when we do the coaching for leaders, managers and supervisors and business people as well, he's got a quote, and I looked it up as this came out, and he had a simple explanation for the differences, and they're not mutually exclusive, because I think also both leadership is not a title, it's behavior. Yes, as you said, they're integrated, and you can be a good leader and a great manager. You can be a good manager and a great leader. either way, but the simple ones he explained, and I like simple things. But he says managers measure people, process, and performance, and leaders develop people, process, and performance.
Nice.
And that was, and again, of course, you can do both. So sometimes people think, oh, I'm a manager, so I cannot be a leader. And as you said as well just now, there is no desperate distinction. Some people are more into the managing side, but somewhere along the line they lead. So I just had a question and I let it slip, but I will find them again. But there is, for me, I had especially when there's so many young leaders in here, and they see leadership around the world in all its forms and sometimes disastrous. And you know, the problem with a lot of people, of course, is when we see the negative sides of anything usually stick longer than the positive sides. And that's why we need to practice our positive and optimistic side every single day, because we need to fight that inner side of us that always wants to, because of where we are so far, we've seen so much negative, we listen to so much negative. So as a young leader, learning things, I just wrote it down. For young people, what can young people do to become better leaders? And I would like to hear this from Mr. Ranjan. So it's a big question again.
Yeah, I know it's a big question again. I suppose at the initial stages, I suppose we're talking about, for me, everyone's young at heart. I mean, all of us in that. But if I'm saying that, if as you step into a leadership role, maybe in a corporate organization, it could be even a student leadership role, my advice for you is, first of all, start searching for purpose. I know we had a session day before about purpose. Why are you in this world? What is the big reason for you to be here? And for me, purpose is about making sure that you're in this world to make a contribution, using the talents you are gifted with, and regarding concerns you have in the world. So pick a concern. Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's productivity or poverty. So pick something which is important for you, and where you feel that you could make a difference using your talent. So based on that, try to articulate the beginnings of a purpose statement. Because for me, as I said the other day, it's a lifelong journey. Lord Buddha once said, our purpose in life is to find purpose, and do it in the most humble and most useful manner. So as you keep searching for purpose, kind of write an initial statement and then start developing yourself in those areas. Perhaps the spiritual side, start reading things into that area, attending courses, building relationships of people who might be able to contribute and benefit from your purpose. And of course, looking after your body with your exercises, doing your financial management, ensuring that you do not spend any money in non-purposeful activity. So put your money into the books and to looking after yourself. So once you start doing that, you will get into this habit, and all that gives you positive energy. So start getting positive energy by doing this. And because of those encounters and experiences, you'll get clarity about your purpose. So if I have to take a little bit about my story, initially, I studied mathematics because my dad was an engineer. I thought I'm going to be an engineer. So I started doing mathematics. And then I realized I miserably failed doing mathematics in my examinations. And then I got hired because I had done sports in school, and I was a Boy Scout. So I got hired as a management trainee, and I was sent to marketing department. I think that was an accident, because there are two people. One was sent to finance, one was sent to marketing. So sometimes life sends you places by accident, but I took everything positively, learned marketing, contributed. And then I did the British marketing examination of the Chartered Institute of Marketing, ended up getting the gold medal for the best results in the world. And that helped me to start working as a marketing manager for a company at 24 years, the largest conglomerate in Sri Lanka. And then a few years later, they put me on the board, but I was still not very happy with marketing. I was like searching for something. I then learned management, did my MBA, And then I came across the concept of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, self-mastery, and that was fascinating for me. And then I realized I'm into psychology. So what I'm saying is, keep responding to these opportunities. Some of them may be accidental, some of them might be by design, and keep searching, say yes to it, and keep moving to other areas. And around at 30, 35 years, you might realize, okay, that's what it is. And for me, about 35, I realized this is what I want to do. For the last 20 years, I'm like 1 year below both Ineke and Jan. So for the last 20 years, I've been in this. So all this closing of ages, which is a good thing. Transparency was someone's value, I suppose. So point I'm saying is, for young people, keep searching, keep experimenting, and searching for the purpose. But finally, and again, this whole process will keep you realize what is your real purpose. And again, don't be, if you think you got it, wake up quickly. It's a lifelong journey. But for me, I think the more you live in that mode of looking for purpose, you become happier, more successful, you keep growing all the time. So I suppose that's my little advice for young leaders. Keep searching. Be of service to this world. And of course, look for some values, as we heard. Very quickly to share my values, if you are interested. One is authenticity. You started with authenticity. Empathy is the second value. Passion, be passionate in what I do. Humility, because so much you can learn. And selfless. Those are my 5 values I work on. So write some values for yourself. I'm not saying I'm 100% in any of them. It's always searching. We are never perfect. We're always trying to get closer and closer to something close to perfection in values, but find those values and keep working towards that. So that's for young people. Values, purpose. Yeah.
Again, thank you very much for sharing that. And again, if you're hearing this, I hope you're taking notes, because, what is also very apparent is it doesn't matter where in the world we are in leadership roles and in impacting other people, we all have values. I will give you that 4 values now to see if you were correct when with Madeline earlier on. And that was, the first one was, of course, transparency, because you wrote it down. The second was dignity. The third was equity. And the fourth was love. So if you got to give yourself a pat on the back, and it is wonderful that you're actually taking notes. But whatever your values are, find them. Find your own values. What is your value system? And always live by it. Because once you've got it and once you understand it, you need to keep living by it. We do values-based leadership as well, and values are the foundations, I believe, because a lot of leadership around the world is failing because of lack of values. So if we can, that's why it doesn't matter what your values are, as long as you have values, you know them, and you live by them. And that could be integrity, it could be honesty, it could be developing people, it could be forgiveness, it could be restraint, it could be leaders are. Napoleon said this a long time ago. If you don't know who he was a little fella. Yeah, he did a lot of warmongering many years ago. But he said, leaders are sellers in hope. Now, if you are becoming a leader, what kind of hope are you selling? Or are you selling any hope? Or so again, it's about attitude as well. And because where there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. And as a leader, we need to bring this at this moment more and more. And young people have the opportunity to develop themselves. But again, we hear a lot about value system, and make sure there is different books and different ways that you can find out your value system. Different courses you can do. I can't even remember the name just now, but a world-class American guy, Dr. John DeMartini, it just came to me. He's got a book about value. I mean, what he doesn't know, I've listened to this guy before, what he doesn't know about the 40-odd years he studied values, and he's got a simple way to 13 questions as well, where you can find what your values are. But there is many ways. And again, sometimes it's even good just to get a coach where they can help you and guide you in finding yourself, because coaching is to draw out from within, from within you what's there, So and I would also say, and all of us are coaches as well. I'm not just saying it because we all probably have coaches as well, but it is because we know that sometimes we're in the picture and we can't see the frame. So it is very important that whether we develop our leadership skills or entrepreneurship skills or any other skills that we need, sometimes it's great to have an accountability partner or to have a coach or a mentor, but find somebody who can guide you and support you in your through your journey. So then we have it's very interesting. Nusrat Jahan Tassin, the question just came up here just now. So Ineke, this is your next question. What do you think about the main obstacle elements that always creates problems in leadership?
Well, the biggest one is that leaders think that they have all the answers. I think that's the biggest obstacle creating belief that a leader can have. So I love to walk around saying I have no idea, and I love it. You know, I have no idea. I'm just, I'm just doing. I'm just moving around. So thinking that you have all the answers because you have the biggest pay how do you say it, pay slip every month. No.
Yes, a simple answer, of
Very
course.
simple answer.
Yeah, I mean, we anybody who's a leader, and we're all leaders anyway, then we know that we don't have all the answers. It's Henry Ford always said. I mean, people used to get onto him because how dare he build such an empire, and he didn't know an awful lot of stuff. But he always said that they interviewed him, and he said, I don't need to know all the stuff. I know people who know this. So I can call them into my office or lift the phone and ask them for that advice. I want to keep my head clear for my creativity, and nobody can argue with that. But it is something that when we don't know, we can ask other people. So it is again, we get a lot of questions about, and for Madeline, we get a lot of questions, and it's already been approached in a different angles, but leading in challenging times, and of course, it really applies to this time. There is a lot of, they say that leaders are not built in challenging times, they reveal themselves. So what should they reveal in challenging times to be good leaders?
Well, there's a quote by
That's
Bruce.
for you, Madeline.
Yes, thank you. There's a quote by Bruce Lee. We do not rise to our level of expectation, we fall to our level of training. And so I also am trained in a body of somatic coaching called Leadership Embodiment, which is grounded in mindfulness and Aikido leadership embodiment. And this, there's so much. Say the question again, Jan. When my mind was going many places. Can you just repeat the question?
Oh, what did I just say? Because the question is
No,
what was the question?
The question was
basically
the challenging time.
What?
Yes, it was a very simple question. Yeah, really.
Leadership during the challenging time.
Challenging times. Thank you. Okay, so the other part of my answer, my apologies. Judith Glaser, in her work Conversational Intelligence, talks, and this has come up a few times in our discussion in this last hour. There are 3 levels of conversations. There's level 1, which is exchanging information. There's a level 2 conversation, which is about influence and advocacy, where dialogue and debate happens. Then there's a level 3 conversation, which is about co-creating and discovery. And when we don't know what to do. So Ineke was just talking about sort of not knowing. So for me, when I coach people, I do a lot of executive coaching, this conversation, this idea of being vulnerable and admitting that we don't know is a growing edge for all human beings, because we don't like to be in our stretch zone. We don't like to be outside our comfort zone. There's all kinds of neuroscience around that. But the point is that when we're in challenging times, we have to back to resistance. We have to embrace the energy of that time, which means we have to be able to tolerate discomfort. We have to be able to tolerate not knowing. And when we can be tolerant of uncertainty, we can use our curiosity and our co-created parts of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is about big picture thinking and collaboration, to discover together how we address the challenging time. So it really is about being willing to invite people in to help solve, create, figure out what needs to happen.
Wonderful. Thank you again. And again, I hope you're all taking note and like and share this and drag your friends in here because they're missing out at the moment. I mean, you would have FOMO if you'd left now, I'm pretty sure. We've got 15 minutes to go yet, so there is still time to get them in here. Like and share it. And at the moment, Kamrul has got an announcement to make as well, so please, Kamrul.
Sure, thank you. So as you were saying to take note, I've got an award for those who are taking notes. Are you ready for it? Asking the questions, type yes. The award for you is Super Achiever Knowledge Seeker. So if you are joining 10 sessions and summarizing it and submitting all the session summary, at least 10, you get one life-changing book, because there was a lot of discussions about reading books. We will give you a book, and our knowledge partner is Rockomari.com, the country's leading e-commerce site for books. So they and us, we have joined together to give you thousands of books, if you can win it. So one book if you're joining 10 sessions and submitting the summary. If you're champion into this category, you get 5 books. Runner-up 4 books, and then 3 books. And with each of you are getting a certificate and a crest as well. So be the Super Achiever Knowledge Seeker. Have a note, pen and paper ready and submit every day. Simple. You might get 5 books. Is it all? No, it's not all. You get to win a coaching by me as well to build any habit that you want, a session 1. And is it all? No. We are going to invite 5 of you to join live program, and we are going to introduce you to countrywide. You are Super Achiever Knowledge Seeker. You have hunger inside. So that's Super Achiever Knowledge Seeker. And if you're Super Achiever Leadership, since this is a session for leadership excellence, we got an award too. If you're introducing 1,000 students for this platform, inviting them to learn and join and learn for this free soft skill program, you get the same award: 1 book, 1 certificate, 1 crest. 5 books, 1 certificate, 1 crest, an interview, Facebook Live, and a coaching session as well. So this is on. And right now, time for a quiz. Since you are watching, 30 seconds, can have the quiz for 30 seconds. You got to respond A, B, C, D within the next 10 seconds. If you respond it, you get a quiz master badge and certificate. Just type A, B, C, D. If you're confused, you don't know which one, just start typing once A and then B, C, and D. One will okay. Definitely, there is an answer within this A, B, C, D. So next 10 second quiz time. If you want to win this, definitely A, B, C, D. Just type in only A, B, C, D, nothing else. And only A, B, C, D. Yes, started to have the answer already. Start typing in, keep on, and A, B, C, D, whatever you feel free. Just, A is on the middle of the keyboard, first letter on the left side, B on the last row and the middle side, and C is also in the last row, in case you are looking for. Just type randomly. Fantastic. Time is up. Keep typing. Thank you so much. Question is over. Over to you.
Oh, thank you very much, and I hope you took part in that quiz as well.
Explain the keyboard. Thank you.
You're going to win prizes. You get awards and certificates and books. On top of all the knowledge you will gain.
And also for the scholarship, I think those who are joining now, I forgot to announce it as well. We are giving away. We got an announcement for at least 100 women, and a female student can have $1,000 for each program. So $100,000 worth of scholarship for 100 student at least. It can be 200 as well, depending on your interest. So apply with your CV for a scholarship only for women. See the email info@cknetwork.com. So this is the email. If you are looking forward to building your career on financial sector globally, so this is the program, international scholarships. Time is for you. Time is yours. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's, again, wonderful news. 100 females, 100 ladies will get an opportunity to get a scholarship. This is happening here live at the Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit. So if you haven't brought your friends here just now, how are they going to get to know about it? Because surely you don't want to keep it to yourself. You want to, if you're a male and you've got lady friends who are studying as well in the same university, they should have been here already, but they should hear about this because they need a scholarship. they have an opportunity to get a scholarship, but only if you let them know. So start bringing in your friends, because this is only one of the few things that are happening just now, and there will be many more. So I hope you bring your friends in, but like and share this and spread this great news. There is much more great news happening already, and there's much more to come in the next 4 or 5 days. So I have got another question, and I luckily I taped some of it in the comments box, partly because I get a lot of letters coming up now because of the quiz, and it's great that people are actually participating actively in the quizzes as well. They're keen to win some books and some certificates. Wonderful, it all helps. And there was one a question, and I can't remember who it was from anymore, but it's for Mr. Ranjan. How to involve team members, not just to take part in a team, but to be bridge builders as well? That was the question.
Yeah, good question. I suppose it's about understanding the uniqueness of each team member. So we got this concept called the natural abilities. Some of us are more idea seekers. You get really excited with new ideas which are out there. Then you got the information seekers who would like to bring information in to make those ideas work. Then you got the action seekers, people who would like to implement some of those. And then you got the sustainability seeker who ensures that those what's implemented gets sustained. Now, if you can look at the individuality of each of them, what are the natural abilities everyone has, and respect it. Similarly, you can have other areas like, are you more left brain or right brain? Are you more logical or creative? And both of them, this diversity is so important. And again, whether you use more the EQ or IQ, are you a more head person or a heart person? So my idea is to build the bridges. First of all, show that everyone is different. Everyone has something to bring to the table, and help your team members to respect each and everyone for who they are. We are not born with all the abilities, but we have something really unique in that area. You can be world class. And then once you, as a leader, create that environment, then people will naturally, automatically talk to each other. And again, have those values, saying that people who get the good evaluations are not only those who get the numbers, the targets, but those who live the values. So if you're willing to listen to others, share information, talk to each other, work on projects, work on teams. So I suppose as a leader, if you can create that kind of an environment where people really love to, communicate, and that will happen when you realize that, each one brings something to the table. Appreciate everyone for who they are. So I suppose if you keep doing that, perhaps you're a bridge builder. Naturally, bridges are built, communication happens, information flows, and it becomes a lovely environment. The challenge of a leader is to create an environment where people enjoy coming to work in the morning. Are you able to create that? Just ask yourself, when you wake up in the morning, what do you say? Do you say, good morning, God, thank you for the day? Or do you say, good God morning, and go back to sleep? Okay, yeah. And that depends on what kind of environment is created for your team. Yep.
Well, again, wonderful. I hope you're taking notes, people, because this is gold. This is gold. You'll take a long time to find all of this in one book. You won't, but to find in all the books, the knowledge that you get in this hour and a half is pure gold. How do you show up in the morning? How do you show up as a leader? And how do you connect with people and be nice to people as well? Build relationships. And when you become a better leader, people will do what they need to do because they want to, not because they have to. And that's when people start connecting with each other as well, because you need to be the change you want to see in the world, be that example that your organization needs to see. Because you can always say, with the values on the walls, it always looks beautiful, but how well do the leaders in the organization practice those values? And it's not saying those values, but practice them. So we need to intrinsically be good and nice people. It's been said by all three already, and we need to connect with people. Now I've got another question. She's asked a few questions as well, and Oishi Guha, how can I make the best of a difficult situation? Ineke.
Yeah, postpone your judgment towards it. That helps a lot. So life happens. Life happens. We have no remote control for the things that happen. So maybe we get an accident and break our leg. And if we think we have the judgment, this is too bad, this is bad, this is the baddest thing that can happen to me, you would really feel it. So if you would feel, I will postpone my judgment and look what is bringing me, then you can be more flexible with situations because life is happening anyway. And we have no control over life or situations. We have a lot of influence. I think the more we become leaders in our own self, we make other decisions that we can make really more proactive decisions towards what we want to create. See, if I want to create an international business, I have to be open for international people. So if Kamru would have called me and I would say, oh no, Bangladesh, I don't know where that is, please no, I would not be here, you know. Yeah. There was a focus point in me saying, I want to bring this globally. And then this guy calls me out of the blue, you know. Who is he? I have no idea. So let's talk. So this is bad situations. COVID-19 is the baddest actual situation that we face globally. Actually, I have never felt this close to the whole planet as of now. Yeah, that sounds maybe strange, but I'm so connected to the planet as a whole. For me, the globe is really small, became really small. I mean, we're talking here 4 continents, I mind you, you know, 4 continents in one screen. It's amazing. We share ideas and we have so much similarities. Yes. This is like, you cannot even think of this. This is the biggest gift. So yeah, maybe a big answer, but a long answer, but this is it. Postpone judgment and see what it brings. What's the gift inside this? What's the gift inside the shit, you know?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Again, you know, and you know, the answers don't always have to be difficult. You know, we can make it as difficult as we want. But I know I just look up at the time as well, and we could make it a lot more difficult, but we have to keep it simple and we have to finish very shortly. But I have one more question that I can ask just now, and this is from Asif Mahmoud, and that will be for Madeline. Asif Mahmoud wants to know, do leaders have to be in front or to lead, or they can step back and lead from behind, which will give room for team members to grow and to learn? I also think this is very important, he says. So again, do the leaders have to be in front to lead, or can they step back and lead from behind and give room to team members to grow? Great question.
Great question. I think it's both. I've spent a lot of time honing the craft of being a facilitative leader, somebody who facilitates groups going in a direction that they all agree they want to go in. And sometimes that means you're in front, and sometimes that means you're in back, and sometimes that means you're in a circle and you're one of the members of the circle. So there's many different ways that we lead, and it's about being conscious and sharing with others, being transparent about when you're doing which strategy. Very, very key to know that you have access to all of the different ways, front, back, or in a circle as a member.
Indeed, and also quite often it depends as well on your personality as well, because some people are more reserved than a leader. Because somebody asked me before, can only big driven people lead? No, I mean, if you look at Gandhi and Mandela and Mother Teresa, also a great leader, but all these kind of people, there is leaders everywhere. So yes, and I love the answers, and I loved all the answers so far. We've only got a few minutes left, and I would like to ask, and I'll start with Dr. Ranjan. Have you got one final thought to provide to these leaders? Because there is another session happening in 15 minutes time. So they keep coming, people. So keep bringing your friends to this. But Dr. Ranjan, Mr. Ranjan, please, a final thought from you.
Yeah, so I'll give my final thought in the form of a poem. As most of you know, I love reciting poems. So this is the leader's poem for all the leaders out there. You know you're a leader when your friends say it's true. I like me best when I'm with you. You look for the best in all that you see. You help each one of us to be the best that we can be. Leaders help those who are down. They share a smile instead of a frown. Leading means sharing with your kids a hug by the fire, sharing dreams and values that inspire. Leading means letting your friends know that you care. Thank you, everyone, for being so fair. Leaders are willing to give much more than they get, but their favors are free. They are never in debt. Leading means giving 100%. It means paying your taxes, your dues, whatever by God you're sent. Leaders believe in trying and doing. They don't believe in whining, fretting, and stewing. Leaders honor every color and creed, and they reach out to feel everyone's need. Losers keep betting that life is just getting, but there's one of God's laws that they keep forgetting. And this is a law you can live and believe. It is the more you give, it is the more you'll receive. Life is not about its duration, but it's about its donation. And that's my final word for you. Just go give it away, and that makes you a great leader.
Well, wonderful. And I think on that note, Kamrul has to make some announcements yet about the next program starting in only 13 minutes. So for me, I'm just delighted. And people from, as Ineke said as well, people from 4 continents here together and from 5 different countries to bring some information. I know it's been great for people. Again, this is the Next Gen Leaders Virtual Summit. I just want to thank Mr. Ranjan from Sri Lanka, Ineke Hurkmans from the Netherlands, and Madeline McNeely from the United States of America, and back from me, Jan Robberts, in South Africa at the moment, back to Coach Kamrul Hassan from Bangladesh. Thank you very much for everybody and for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan Robberts, Madeline, Ineke Hurkmans, Ranjan de Silva, and everyone. Coming up next program, 9:15 p.m. is all Bangladesh panel. But I think this is all Bangladesh's, the youth leader. They're joining in, 6 of them. This is Munir Hassan from the country's leading daily newspaper who deals the youth sections. Mr. Munir Hassan, head of youth program Prothom Alo. Mr. Arifar Hussain, our country's #1 celebrity influencer, who gives a status in his Facebook, and within an hour, 10,000 comments, 10,000 to 15,000 likes. He's such an influencer. He's joining up 9:15 p.m. Muhammad Amanullah, he's the founder of English Olympiad. Mr. Osama bin Noor, who is a co-founder of Youth Opportunities, our youth outreach partner. Dr. Adnan Mannan from Chittagong University, he's the Chittagong University Research and Higher Study Society. He's a coordinator and he's the host there. And then Mr. Rizaul Haq, who's the chief executive of Radio Furti, country's the #1 Radio Furti channel, who has brought all the youths together into the platform. 6 of them joining in 9:15 p.m. It's all about the youth and youth engagement and community development. I'm sure all of you are watching right now on Facebook, you're excited because you know all these names. They are the go-to person in a country, right? For when it comes for youth and engagement and development. Please join in and watch out. Again, thank you for your time and effort to make this event wonderful. And it cannot have been better than this. Thank you again, Jan, Madeline. Comments from you before you go, whatever, just quick comments. Madeline, Ineke, Ranjan, and Jan, we are leaving then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful to be with you all. Wonderful questions. Our paths will cross.
Thank you all very much. Love the participation. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Kamrul, for doing this.
Thank you.
Such a
thank you. If you check it out, already thousands of comments already there. I think more than 1,100 comments already there on the Facebook on our page. So all right, thank you so much.
Thank you
again. It was a pleasure meeting you, Madeline, for the first time, and I look forward to meeting you again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.